Alright, welcome everyone. Unlike last time, I don't have the baby with me. Uh, he is currently sleeping, so I do have, you know, hopefully this stream will go a little bit smoother. But I did want to stream tonight because I foresee this as um, the last send off, I guess, if you want to call it that, even for one of the more enjoyable versions of this Cradle deck that I've played. I mean, I'm a little bit biased too because I think it's probably, if you want to call it, reached the final form of this artisan build, right? Like I was finally happy to do so. Namely, the final piece was adding that mini Salga package, which is admittedly hard to play. So if you've never played this deck, I probably wouldn't play it. I wouldn't recommend that because a lot of the lines are not very intuitive, and you can just play another fetch land, for instance, or a Beseju if you feel a little safer with that. But I hit my personal best after adding the Saga package of 21 straight wins. And at one point, I was like 27-3, I think, with this deck. So, granted, that's a small sample size, over 6 leagues, but it wasn't just me, but Matt's Olay. So this was like towards the end of last season. I didn't play as much this season because, my wife was nearing uh, labor, I guess, right? And I just didn't have time with a baby around too. So, but I'm glad to see like Matt's Ellington, Matt's Olay on MTGO carry up the mantle and essentially went on a hotter streak than I ever went on, which is I don't know what his overall record was, but I do know he had at one point I think 9 trophies in like 14 days, which is really impressive. I think, especially given that typically with trophy runs you see like Reanimator like towards the top because the leagues are very quick. This deck doesn't really have quick leagues. It is more a mid-range deck that plays out like a tempo deck that happens to have a combo finish. That's probably the best way I can describe it. It's like a rock deck that can combo kill you, right? But plays out like a tempo deck. Um, but yeah, I get the reason I call it a send off is because with Lord of the Rings set coming, I guess really on paper this weekend and then on MTGO next week. I think the big card that is coming is Orcish Bowmaster. Now the card kills our mana dorks, but really at the end of the day, I don't think it's like particularly great against our deck specifically. It's like a 2 mana removal spell that leaves, I guess, 2 creatures. We're not typically attacking anyways, and when we do, our creatures are a little bit bigger because we have exalted triggers. Now, the reason why I think it's going to change Legacy a lot and change our deck a lot is I think we're going to play. I'm starting out with 3 copies. I guess I'll just be upfront, right? Like, I mentioned this to my Patreon already, but um, here's, I guess, a rough sketch of. Okay, this is kind of hard to find the. Let me see if I can find the list. Here's a rough sketch of what I'm. Actually, what am I doing? I can just go to the. I can go here, and just show it. Lord of the Rings. Yeah, this is like roughly what I'm starting with. So, hey, hi Star, how's it going? So 3 copies. And the logic is kind of similar to why we played 3 copies of Allosaur Shepherd. I don't really want to draw this at the wrong time, right? Like against something like a lands, I prefer not to draw this card because it's off color and I don't want them attacking my bayous. Probably will cut it post board against lands, for instance. There's no targets for it either, right? Like they don't have X1s and they don't draw cards. So really, aside from Cradle math, which is nice, right? Like, there's been time where I want an artisan for a nest invader or Mogwar marshal um, creature. Obviously, they're not good enough to play in our deck because they're off color and or just not power level is not there. But I wanted to start with three because it does come up where like the Cradle math matters or the natural order math, or if you just need fodder right for Fiend Artisan. I think we are one of the best shells to incorporate Orcish Bowmaster because we actually make the best use. Well, let me rephrase that. There's a few other decks I can think of that can make that can use it maybe more than us, but I think we use the bodies probably the best in that sense that Guy's Cradle really matters, right? It plus two, which is a huge. I need someone smart to tell me how bad Bowmaster is going to be for Legacy. So this is great. I posted a poll and I tried to be what's it called? I try not to lead the witness, so to speak, in any direction. I just kind of posted, casually. How do you feel? Like, there's been a lot of opinions on the card. This is how so far how it's going, the voting, and because I've seen like a lot of what's it called opinions on the card, right? I think I try not to lead anybody because I'd be curious what people thought. My personal opinion is, um, I think it's gonna be really good. I'm not sure it's gonna be ban worthy, like some people think it is. Like there's been I like on one extreme, right? Like I've heard people think this card is gonna get banned. I mean, I could be way off base, but I don't think so. Only because it's a two drop first of all. So like I know it's gonna tick off some blue players because they're not gonna be able to cast Brainstorm with it on the board. But some decks just don't care, right? Like you can take the 4 damage and the 5/5 or whatever, right? And then move on. Now that doesn't always work, right? But my personal opinion is I think it's good. I don't think it's ban worthy, if that makes sense. Like I obviously think it's good because I'm playing 3 copies. I play 4, but it's just like against the wrong decks. I don't really want to draw this card. If it pushes everyone into black, isn't that ban worthy? I'm not sure it does because some decks just don't care about this effect, right? Like in my opinion, our deck like it hits the doors, but we don't really care. Lance definitely doesn't care. Reanimator for the most part does not care. Moonstompy doesn't really care. There's a lot of decks that just don't care. Okay, so high start. Uh, Sorry, I'm a little bit slow at reading. If it pushes everyone to blood, okay. Maybe. I mean, to be fair, Black hasn't had a good creature worth playing, unless you count Artisan, right? Like in quite some time. And this is like very specific. It's more of a green card, to be honest. It's not really a black card. Um, what was I gonna say? Okay, it's been a minute since Confidant was good for what it's worth. Like, at least, like, I actually thought about posting a different poll, which is like, what's the reason to be in fair black right now? Is it Seize? Is it Snuff Out? Or is it gonna be Brawler? Or not Brawler, that's this card. Or Bowmaster? I feel like really Seize is still the reason to be in black. But I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't think it's ban worthy because it's a 2 drop. That's the other reason. Maybe I'm just way off base and underestimating what it does in the blue matchups, but there's just a decent amount of decks that just don't really care, in my opinion. The reason why I do think it's good is in certain decks the floor is quite good. So what I mean by that is like a Mogwar Marshal is pretty decent. I'm playing it because that's kind of the floor in this deck, and +2 for Cradle, like and or just like Fiend, fodder or natural order math. Like it's pretty relevant, right? So we'll see. I guess we'll find out, right? But my personal opinion, I think it's quite good. I don't know if it's gonna like warp the metagame the way people think it is. Maybe it will. I'm just wrong. I suspect not, personally, since I don't want to duck the question, but I suspect it will not warp Legacy the way people think it will. All right. I guess with that said, we'll move on and just play our match, right? And send off this version of the deck that I was pretty happy with. I will be playing three copies and just like shaving some things that I don't think are as necessary. Hopefully, namely the second Gris, uh, moving endurance to the sideboard, and then like cutting. I don't even know if like plague engineers need it anymore because there's two matchups I really want plague engineer for, which is like cephalid breakfast, and that helps there. The other one is elves. Now, glimpse of nature like doesn't really do anything. Well, not that it doesn't do anything, but like it's like pretty awkward, right? In the face of a bowmaster. This is like a fun ups Terra Thunder. I will not be playing that once the new Lord of the Rings set is out. But oh, I mentioned earlier the decks I think can play multiple copies of Bowmaster. I feel like our deck can because creature matters in our deck, like Cradle Math, Fiend Math, Hoof Math. Like like Once Upon a Time can find it. Also, it deals with annoying Strix, which like can stop our aggro plan sometimes, which is pretty nice. So I think our deck utilizes it one of the best. I think Esper Vile probably uses it really well too. I think I like JTL Jeff Lynn mentioned that. I can see it, depending on the meta, it being incorporated into the mono black decks, like the Helm decks, pretty easily. I like the possibility of it T1 off Mox into Ponder. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by into Ponder? Like playing it off of Mox, I get, but oh yeah, okay, sure. Just shut off Ponder. See, that's the other thing. It doesn't actually shut off cantrips. Like if an opponent casts a Ponder, I think a lot of these control decks can live with you having essentially three power on board and then dealing one damage, right? Like I don't, it's not a hate bear. I see it more as a value card. Maybe I'm underestimating it. Let's mull this. The other thing I'm gonna be most curious about, to be honest, is are people gonna main phase it just to get the extra value? Like that would be very interesting, I think. Right? Because 2 mana up, unless you're playing Stoneforge Mystic or Elvish Reclaimer, it's a little bit telegraphed. Um, for what it's worth. To be honest, I actually wanted to play Bob in like a few Bobs in my deck, but it's probably not gonna work out when I'm the snuff out like Cradle Hoof deck too, right? When it eats 7 off the Bob. But Bob is a card that for nostalgic reasons. Oh, ew. Probably not the best matchup for an endurance right here. Oof. I don't want to see this matchup, unfortunately. So I can like endurance and then like pitch endurance and then natural order for the problem is it's not lethal. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do this. Because I want to cast natural order for Atraxa and then have my land drop so available is the logic. But I don't really want to see this matchup without opposition agent. it's not as bad per se. It's just like it becomes a lot easier if I have agent. Not to mention our configuration is not really like this doesn't do anything in this matchup. Unfortunately, like not meant to beat this. Unfortunately, I drew two right in the opener at the mole, but we'll see how it plays out. So ideally here, I'm gonna like natural order for. What's the matchup you sideboard more cards, and how many plus minus? Can you explain your question a little bit more, High Star? I'm not sure I understand your question fully. Are you asking me what matchups I side in the most? If so, it's generally combo decks where endurance matters. That's probably the answer. If your question is something else, please let me know. No worries, I understand. Sometimes English is not some people's language, best first language. See what they name. That'd be interesting here. Maybe they name Besiege or something. I don't know. Wasteland. Alright, sure. Not what I want to see. So I'm just gonna attract it to reload here. Hopefully draw into a Cradle and like there you go. There's the Cradle. Um, we're well. We have the natural order too, which is good. I take that because that's a win. And then we have no instant, unfortunately, no grist. I guess I just take the Fiend Artisan. Mm, they're gonna have to Chasm, and if they do, I feel like I want the Artisan to be live. Let's do that. Also, appreciate your question, Lomer Boy. That's a nice compliment that you value my opinion. Again, it's just a guess. I actually have not touched the card at all in terms of like any testing prior, like via proxies or whatnot. It's just a guess, but I have had two people who have come to me and told me that they think the card is good, but not warping for what it's worth. And they said they tested the card a little bit already. Oops, that was a mistake. I think I'm gonna target myself, to be honest. Actually, what do I want to do here? Let's target opponent, I guess. So they're gonna Chasm here, I think. Uh, Possible I should have attacked first, but at least this leaves a threat of like crop rotation and natural order. And then we get this off the board. Oh, this is a little bit scary though, for what it's worth. In hindsight, okay, maybe they Chasm here. That would be great for us. Actually, I'm okay with that. Although, if we draw a fetch land, we would have regretted not putting the R back in our deck for what it's worth. At least, I'm not sure they're supposed to get the Caracas there. I actually don't think we care. Um, we need a creature here though, like big time in the worst way. There you go. This will force the Chasm out. If if they have a crop here, if they, I don't know if they do or not. Looks like they have a Chasm, which is okay, I think. They're like down 2 lands now. I will try to make the same point with the point. How many cards do you think is okay to bring? I think that's actually one of the strengths of this deck. Like, you're a critical mass deck, but you don't need like certain engines for the to run. So, for instance, what I mean by that is like it's not like Glimpse of Nature where you need to have the Birch Lore and the Heritage Druid still in, otherwise your deck has a hard time. I think here, let's do that, and then shut off their artifact mana. So like I actually don't think there's any limit. Like you can board out a lot. I think that's one of the benefits of this deck. I think the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get Reclaimer and set a Bog. They have 2, 3, 4 mana. Okay, it's like a livable or manageable, I should say. That's a pretty good hit, to be honest. So the interesting thing here is like we can actually set up another Atraxa if we want to. I'm just not sure that's a couple turns away. Well, we do have the endurance here for the Bog already, so I guess that's probably it. The new set goes on Moto on June the 20th. Matza Bayama. So if they're trying to green sun for a excavator or have it naturally, then I'm just gonna like shuffle, right? I think here we're just trying to cast the Atraxa again. So I'm kind of glad I had this up, right? That's kind of annoying. So here I think we just kill the excavator. I'm not even sure what is like. Yeah, I think we just kill that. Uh, and then I think we just get the other hierarch. And then we can cast out Traxa now next turn. It's a little bit awkward if they prime time here and we can't stop it. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Yeah, Moloch was a card I actually wanted, or I thought would be incorporated into our deck, like once it was legal. I think Initiative really changed that. Like I realized we were forced to innovate beyond Moloch, and we added the snuff outs to the main deck, and I just don't think there's room anymore. I used to be of the notion that maybe this deck becomes a Jund deck, like for real. Um, but now, what is it called? Okay, so the question here is like, do I mill first or not? I feel like the answer is probably not. In case I hit one of the snuff outs. Don't let people tell you cannot cast Atraxa. Alright. Wow, last card. Green Sun, Fiend Artisan, and Endurance. I wonder if we want another Endurance. Probably not. No lands, surprisingly. I guess we thinned it all out, right? Oops, cancel. Hey Adriana, how's it going? I have a good surprise for you. I mentioned you my upcoming article for my metagame update. Nice 4-0 prelim with Blue Red Delver recently. So I think I'll pass. So I have a shout out to you, Adriano. I'll send you the link, or actually you have access to it on my Patreon too. So let me know. But yeah, I gave you a nice shout out. I was happy to see you do well with Delver for sure. I'll pass here. Yeah. I think you have access to the channel. I think that should be okay. Actually, what am I doing here? I think I just want another reclaimer just in case. Unless I'm missing something. Yeah. All right. We'll just pass. I think it's over. Oh, it makes sense. And you actually, I saw you did really well in the showcase too, right? Like, I think you went 6-2 or something. I didn't play the showcase, maybe calls, but I was happy to see a lot of the people I recognize do maybe not top 8, but top 16 and things like that. All right, so I think we want the snuff outs. The endurance doesn't really do anything in this matchup. The Bogs randomly was relevant. The Endurance actually shutting out the Rat Man for a turn was pretty okay. I need to check how I board. I don't remember. It's been a while. I think I want the Terra Sunder. It can like get a random thing. Yeah, okay, so I bore out the Bog, it looks like, and the Endurance. And then the Needle is good. Do I care about Force? Probably not if I have the Terra Sunder, I feel. Maybe we keep one, either Bog or Endurance, just to like reset our stuff. Uh, Maybe the Bog instead of the Lair, and then I don't mind one Endurance. We're not gonna play around Merit Lage. Great question, Joff. I think in the near term it's gonna be really rough because players have a I don't blame them have a tendency to play new cards. So not only does Bowmaster kind of neutralize the effectiveness of Glimpse and Visionary. No, I don't think you need Boseiju in this deck. Like I'm not scared of any artifact out there. Like it just hasn't come up for me. I'm not like really afraid of anything, and you can't even tutor for it anyways. So that's the other problem with Beseju. I just rather have the mana base like be cleaner, as many fetches as possible. I'm just playing the Lair and the Saga. I just think it's too much value not to play, and you can tutor. But to answer Jaw's question, I think the other thing is with the increase of black decks, I'm pretty sure that some of these blue decks will play Plague Engineer as well. So I think in the near term, at least, it will be rough. I think best case scenario, Joff, is I think hopefully it's not as good as people think it's gonna be, and then after the initial hype dies down, maybe it becomes playable after that. I think in the near term, it's gonna be really rough. Personally, I think the Shepherd here is like not great. The Artisan also not particularly great. It's a little bit of a slower hand. I'm gonna like what do we move? I guess we can keep a snuff out hand. So let's just mull. This is even worse. Yeah, yeah. So, I think if I were in your shoes and you really like to play Glimpse of Nature, I think number one, I think the Reclaimer version, I think I would prefer anyways. But let's just say you want to play the Nettle version, I think it might be a good time to put it down for a little bit, and hopefully the interest in Bowmaster dies down maybe after like a month or so. I'm only guessing, but that's just like uh, uh, I don't think we want Artisan, and maybe not. Uh, this is like the best card in the matchup is the problem. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, hold on. Let's do it like this, and then just go to natural order, and then so our line here is we're just gonna snuff out their Reclaimer and then refuel with natural order. Yeah, so Adriano, top 16 is really good. And like I said, I was really happy to see you do well. Also, it further validated that I included you in the most recent article. It just came out today, for whatever that's worth. But you're there on Spotlight in the Delver section. I do think your decision to play Spell Pierce is really smart right now because at least before Bowmaster comes, because hitting Minsimbu and combo decks in general is pretty good. Also, Staff of the Storyteller, things that Flush Storm doesn't hit. Glimmer Post, sure. Hopefully they're like all in on the. Okay, they have a second one. It's kind of annoying. So our line here is, I think I just want to turn 3 natural order and then go from there, right? Like the reclaimer's gonna be turned on, but I think that's okay. I think there is an argument to be made. Snuff out, while not the most flexible, might be the most powerful removal we've ever seen. All right, this could be a tabernacle if they're doing it main phase. No. Ah, I see. So they did it that way so that they can what is it called? They did it that way so that they can copy their cloud post and have the second. Otherwise, the land drop's going to be something different. So I think our line now is we have turn 3 natural order, and I think we're gonna pitch the artisan. So might as well attack with it, get the extra damage in first. I want access to all of our mana. It's in the Patreon channel on Discord, Adriano. But if you can't get it, just send me a DM and I can send it to you personally. Alright, we didn't even get the snuff out, which is kind of annoying. So the needle here is good, the cradle is good, the grist. So this is actually a big hit. Unfortunately, we really wanted the snuff out, but not meant to be. We did draw 6, so whatever that's worth. Okay, great. I'm glad you were able to find it, Adriano. For those who are curious, actually, this article is going to be publicly available after this weekend too, because it, like I said, it does highlight like Adriano and some other people I happen to know. So I think it would be cool for them to see their name, like, and just to get some appreciation for the results lately, right? So be on the lookout for that. I will post this tentatively Monday, but we'll see how it goes. How Blackwood format need. So that's the thing is, Snuff Out for me, I think is still good because I actually don't. Our deck happens to not care about Bowmaster, but I would imagine Snuff Out loses some appeal in like the blue mirrors, if it's good as people think it is. All right. So the nice thing here is we just lead with the needle and see what our opponent does. Sure. So we technically have lethal. The problem though is we don't have natural order in hand, so we have to wait a turn. That's free. If they prime time us here, it's gonna be really awkward, which could be happening. Or they like green sun for it. I'm trying to think. We can't grist. What do we even want like here? I guess the Freen Artisan, right? Like, it's pretty good. We can Fiend and then end step for actually that was a mistake, I think. I should have actually. Yeah, that was a mistake. I think I'll just pass now. I think what I should have done was just. Oh, I appreciate it, Adrian. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, for those who are curious, this will be a public article like maybe next week, next Monday. I think Shadow has been doing well because it has good combo matchups, and Delver has is a little bit weaker now post expressive iteration ban. I think one of the reasons to not play Shadow before was because you didn't have access to expressive iteration. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's trending up. Like, I think the biggest reason to play Shadow is it's good Delver matchup in particular. I probably should have ramped there, but I guess I can try to find a Cradle with the second once. I think they're gonna prime time me though, which is awkward because the needle. Yeah, it's awkward because the needle is on. Yeah, so I messed up. I should have really used the green sun to ramp. Well, it's debatable, right? Like the once upon a time finding a Cradle could be relevant here. We're just hope they don't like chasm us here, so the coast is clear for a kill. But we'll see. Yeah, there's the chasm. The other thing we could have done was like tutor for no ignoble. I mean noble hierarch in hardcast Atraxa again. There's the Cradle that we're looking for, but not meant to be, right? I think we do that. So this is kind of awkward now. They most likely will attack, but we'll see. No, they yeah. So they did. They are gonna attack. Like that's kind of what I assumed. I think we're gonna lose this game here, fortunately. They're gonna get two more posts, and then they're gonna Emerald Core us. I think they have the mana. It's like a million on the other side. I didn't count, but I kind of assumed. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just kind of assumed. I didn't actually count the map, but they get Caracas post and win. Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Now it's over. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get a board annihilated and so on and so forth. I don't mind. Well, maybe this is like worth it. It's probably better than a Shepherd now that I think about it. Actually, endurance is kind of weak too. I think I'd rather have the force. Just a hit a needle, right? Ms. Merrifield, that's reasonable. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's better than a Shepherd too. Better than a Shepherd too. I think endurance like is not great. I think the bog is probably relevant because it doesn't cost us a card. Um, I mean it's turn three natural order. Hard to complain about that. And then we reload, right? We get turn three Atraxa, reload, and then try to kill turn four. Dig through time is pretty good. I think our next turn is likely bog, fiend plus bog, depending what we draw. Good call by Matt on wanting the mesmeric fiend, right? It's almost like a expressive iteration. Sure. No, I don't like carpet. Not because I don't think it's a good card. I just don't think we need it. Like I don't think we lose to the fair decks if you play tight and outside of getting really unlucky. Okay. Thank you for the sub. I think. Yeah. Thank you for the follow. Sorry, Lurafix1. Thank you for the sub, Mike. 18 months. We will open some chests later in honor of Mike. So here I'm just same thing, right? Like I'm ramping because I don't want to hit use my land drop for the next turn. I want a natural order, and at the same time be able to play my Cradle for the turn. Glad to have you back here, Mike. So here, what is Artisan even getting? I feel like we want the mana. I don't think Artisan is like getting anything relevant. Maybe we just pitch it. Yeah, well, Atraxa, we're gonna reload here. Snuff out is like incredible. Gris, Cradle, Order. Probably, do we not Order? Ironically, here we don't hit a creature, which is like really awkward. All right, we're gonna snuff this out first, see what they do. It could be, yeah. They're gonna probably get Caracas, I would imagine, and bounce the Atraxa. Very, very, very awkward that we we're bog now. We missed a creature off. Well, I guess we get Guris, right? But it's not great. There's some merit to getting the Saga there, just to get the Needle out a turn earlier, but we killed their Reclaimer anyways. And we can Gris next turn, so I guess it doesn't matter. Sure. Ooh, speaking of the Mesmeric Fiend, we don't have enough to do everything we want, I think, here. So I think I'm gonna do this. See what they have first. before I make my play. Incredible Cradle because it adds to the math, right? Like in multiple ways. Not to mention, I don't think they want us knowing their hand. So good call on Matt. I definitely agree with his decision to bring Fiend in here. Well, I obviously agree, right? Because I brought it in. Better phrase is we have validation for his recommendation now. It must be awkward for them here. I would imagine. Maybe they have a crop in hand. Outland Liberator. Interesting. And they have a maze? Okay, we only have one choice. Liberator doesn't do anything. It's board state. So we take the Green Sun. If they want a Liberator... If they want a Liberator hit our land, I don't think we actually care. They almost certainly will liberate our land, actually. But like I said, I don't think we care. We don't have lethal quite yet, especially not through a maze, but we will in 2 turns, presumably. There's no way they Boseiju the Saga. It's good that we know about the Boseiju too, because... Ooh. Not playing the maze is kind of interesting. I think they want to just pop the... I think they want to pop the Saga is the reason. Sure. Don't think we care. So here, if we play the Cradle tap, Hoof, that's 5, 6, 7, plus 4 each, that's 19, and they're... Yeah, I think that's just too much damage not to do right now. So let's just do that. To play around the maze too. So they go down to 2. Not to mention, like, we play around the Boseiju on our Arbor too. They can hit our guys whatever they want. I don't think we care. This is a very grindy game. I apologize if I'm playing a little slow. I think we have it here, but we'll see. Maybe it's a prime time coming. That's annoying. They get a Chasm here. And then they lose another land, so... Actually, does Chasm even work? I guess they have to... I guess they have to do it, right? And buy a turn, but then they have to let it die, right? And if they let it die, we might as well kill them up Primeval Titan. Is the oof just for map? Yeah, Yeah, I guess sometimes they have Ballista, but mostly just for map. It's just better than like Shepherd too in this matchup. Sometimes they have like random things like EE, but it's mostly for map and potentially. Okay, so they got a Glimmer pose. They can win. They can get stage with it. Okay. They they opted not to, which is interesting. Mm, I think on this board state, I don't think we want. Well, if they attack, I think it's gonna be problems for us. We know two of their cards, and then I think we just want to tick up now. There's a chance this can just like matter. Yeah, I agree. Right, like they go to three here. We tick up again, and suddenly we have lethal. Sure. Speaking of turtling, this is what this card does. We have our own turtle in Guy's Blessing against Painter, but very, very different, I guess. They get another prime time that they can cast. That's a pretty clutch once upon a time with Xaxis mana too. I think we could be in trouble. We needed that once upon a time to miss. We probably should not have played the well. Yeah, we probably should not have played the high art because it gives them full information. And we still need a second when we want to cast the tracks again, anyways. Yes, it does. A little bit awkward. They can search and then Emrakul just need a Caracas. Yeah, and we don't have any blocker. Man, we're gonna lose this close game. Yeah, but again, we would still need to find it, right? We can't actually tutor for it. Actually, let's not cast. This doesn't do anything. I think we're just dead here, right? Like they get the Emrakul and just like hit us for 15. Kind of a. I don't like losing this matchup too, but this is one of the matches where you really want opposition agent. I'm not sure there's anything we could have done differently, but Oh, are they? Okay, I always assume they have it. They have one, two, three, four. So that'd be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They got Emrakul anyways. Interesting. Maybe they don't have Olamog. Do they have enough? I thought they're short. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, they're too short. And we know what the last card is, so they just gotta pass. I think we have it. Wow, okay. I guess they don't always have Emrakul. Better lucky than good. Alright, that was kind of a longer game. I'm gonna take a quick restroom break. Could have sided out the other big dorks. So I went away and I see some chatter. I also think they punted. I don't feel like I was supposed to win that game. I definitely agree with Twitch chat on that. Yeah, yeah. I think they definitely punted for what it's worth. I feel like Olmogs should be in their deck still. And if they didn't have it in their deck, that's like a punt during a boarding mistake, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they miscounted is what's happened. I think besides that, I think the major takeaway from our perspective in that game, besides opposition agent is like really good against some of these green decks, was we were playing against Billy Mitchell. I think we'll keep. I don't know what he's usually on. Last time he was playing a show and tell deck. What was the other thing I was gonna say? No, I don't remember. Oh, I do. Something I've noticed from some players who are new to this list is They don't go for natural order for Atraxa if there's a Caracas on the board. My recommendation is to do it anyways because dig through time is just really powerful, and I think you will win the game anyways if you land Atraxa and not be afraid of Caracas. Billy says hi to the chat, by the way. So that's the other takeaway, right? Um, yeah, like do not be afraid of like Swords to Plowshares or Karak. I think if you land on Travis, you should be able to win majority of the time. There's definitely been times where I didn't feel like I punted and I lost, but I think those are like very small corner cases. Usually when you lose with the track, so you like punt it somewhere along the way. Sure. Um, I'm gonna snuff this out. Let's see what Billy does. So I think we just want to. He's tapped out, and I don't want to. We're gonna cast endurance end step anyways. I think we want to force its endurance through. Because I think that just buys so much time with the resolve endurance because we don't want a scenario where we end step cast endurance, they hit our shepherd, and then they daze or something our endurance, right? We probably just lose on the spot. Okay, you don't think you would have snuffed? Interesting. I think here we're gonna bash with the endurance because we're gonna get the noble high. We're gonna pitch the hierarch. Actually, what am I doing? I just punted. We have close to lethal on board, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Okay, Gris fetch. In yeah. So Billy's giving me the benefit of the doubt that this is gonna be game ending, which. So the reason why I snuffed their math is because I knew I was gonna play the Shepherd anyways. So I, in case they had like double foul, they would be less inclined to do so, right? Because the Shepherds shut off that. But I can see why. I just think taking them off pressure is pretty big, but that's reasonable. Um, what was I gonna do? Okay, we can board out the natural order package now. But yeah, Billy's giving me the benefit of the doubt here that I can finish the game with a resolve Atraxa, which you should be able to do. Like here, this is Terra Sunder is like a recommendation from Matt Ole here in our chat. Uh, I think it's like decent. I don't foresee us playing it post Lord of the Rings because there's just not enough room, but it's like a reasonable slot for this current list. Just like kind of catch all that you can board in as a disenchant. I think my list is still like one card off what Max is playing. I think that's reasonable. I don't think I missed anything. So Matt and I talked about this too. Speaking of the devil, snuff out might just be too good not to play 4 copies. Like we just have to figure it out how to find 4 in the 75. I think this is the one of the few hands where I have to mull because this once here has to find Bayou or fetch, and I don't think I want Saga and Arbor in the same hand. Like that hand's a little. Oh, this is even worse. Um, Jesus. That this is like half a land, right? Like this is where the Saga is not hurting us. Actually, both mulligans. Um, so we would probably bottom the. Ooh, we could bottom the endurance, but that's like kind of greedy. I think we want to go to five. All right, this is a lot better. Probably not that. Yeah, like I said, if you are not sure about what's the word I'm looking for? If you're not sure about some of the play patterns associated with this deck, I would not play Saga. It's not a the lines are not very intuitive. Could be a daze here. Sure, I actually think that's a win for us. Yeah, I think we go with that into Noble. Here, if they have a removal spell, I'd rather they remove the Noble. Pretty much top deck here. Also, the needle is really good against some combo decks, and there's a trick you can do where you can draw step reclaimer or crop rotation for it, and then you get needle essentially one turn later. It is like highly relevant for something like sneak and show, or just random combo matches that reclaimer and bog don't have any relevance. I think here we're gonna play around. Well, actually, I should have led with this. If they want to misstep the noble, that's okay with me. And because I rather if they want to daze the noble higher ignoble, then I'm fine with that. No worries, top deck hero. So yeah, the saga kind of hurting us a little bit in this matchup right now because I didn't really want to keep either of those hands because of the saga in hand. There were merits for keeping either. I just didn't think they outweigh the cons. Matt can probably chime in whether he thinks it was correct to mulligan. I just feel like, especially the I think which one was it? Especially the second land where the saga was already kind of a half land. I feel like that was definitely not really something we would keep. The first one is a little bit more justifiable, if I but it's I think it was like Saga, Arbor, and I don't remember what else. You think you would have killed the six? Okay. The six didn't seem great to me because like you had the Saga as one of the lands. Like, but and I think Guy's Blessing was like one of the cards too, which like has no text like early on. Sure. We're not playing around end the festivities here. Like if they have it, they have it. Submerge. I don't think it's like particularly. It's kind of annoying, but not really. They're probably gonna submerge our shepherd right now, and just like put us on the back foot. If I were to guess, that's what they do right now. And then we're gonna bash for hierarch again. I think what Billy might do is like submerge with the exalted triggers on the stack during attack phase. If not on I think we want to preserve life, so I'm gonna bash with the shepherd and see what they do. Mm, hmm. I wonder if we do it now. So if we do it now, we save life. They murktide us. If we pause, it might cause Billy to preemptively go for murktide here too, to try to play around endurance. So it really depends what he thinks we have. Yeah. So now we're relieved we saved the snuff out. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for the subscription, Harry. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, no blocks. Our pause here might have made Billy preemptively go for Murktide in case to play around endurance. So it could force this, but it loses to him the submerge. Thank you for the subscription, Harry. By the way. Yeah, Billy realized he made a mistake. I think he probably just brain farted, to be honest. Like, it's the end of the night. I know he's over there on the East Coast as well. So you're talking about 11 o'clock over there, and he has, I think, one daughter. Um, it happens. I wouldn't read too much. For those who don't know, he won Eternal Weekend. Not this past year, but 2021, the same year that Jurg won. He won the Sunday event. And sometimes you just make a mistake, right? I mean, Billy's a good player, so. Wonder why there's a pause now, though. Maybe he had to step away for a little bit. Kind of confused here. Yeah, so I think he's debating whether to submerge here or not, and then he could have just let the snuff out resolve first before deciding if he wanted to buy some time. All right, so I think I'm gonna preemptively fetch. Sure. I actually didn't want to, for what it's worth. I actually did not want to have a shepherd anyways, because I think I'm gonna get outraced by these these insectivoration and delver seekers anyways. Yeah, it did, Matt. I think we kind of got the best of both worlds there. I think if Billy was a little bit more familiar, perhaps, I think we 100% block here. Yeah, no, for sure, Matt. That makes sense. Actually, you're lying. We definitely want the shepherd not on top. Uh, I think we're still in trouble here for what it's worth. We're gonna go to two, and we're gonna have only we Green Sun or Endurance as outs after that. But I didn't think it through. But Matt's right. What we should have done was just attack, pump, force the submerge, and then have it be fetched away because we don't really want to draw the shepherd. Yeah, we are down to Endurance or Green Sun, I think, as outs. Because we need to unflip the DRC and then block the insectile aberration. Alright, we're dead. That's not lethal, yeah, we're dead. We'll run it back. This thing really cost us the game there. I have to look at it again. Didn't feel like I really wanted to keep those hands though, but alright, this is like significantly better. So I made a joke right now with Billy that he should play this Zenith deck when he gets a chance. Because he picked up Yori on Zenith recently. So I think I'm gonna snuff out the DRC. That's like the first thing I'm gonna do. I don't drop me solid for the fourth snuff. No, it's a land. I would drop it for another land if anything. I don't think we want to like waste our endurance here, so to speak. I think the worst thing that can happen to us right now is like Bolt or Reclaimer waste us, and then we have to like run endurance into days. It's gotta be a Bolt, yeah. I feel like this may get forced here. Main phase endurance. Yeah, I think Delver's still really good. It's probably gonna get well. I guess not. I think we feel pretty ahead now. gotta be a removal. Nope. Yeah, I think without the way to grind, I think Rug is probably a little bit better because Minsabu is a really powerful card. But this does have the better mana base. That's like indisputable, right? I think top three deck right now, like it could be a lot of different decks, right? If I'm trying to be fair, because there's a lot of like skill variance to factor in. It's hard because when people say like a deck X is X percentage, sorry, deck X is some percentage against deck Y. Like, do people mostly refer to like the median pilot, or are they referring to like a pilot near in like the 90th percentile, right? Like, because that really matters. And sometimes it changes when from median to 90th percentile. So I should have animated. So I had to block it, right? That was a mistake. I don't think it likely matters, but maybe it does. Because the layer blocks a lot worse. Because it's a 3/3 with bolt, so I should have done it the other way. Especially given tapped out. I don't think we're playing around Submerge on the layer here. Looks like it's a Murktide region. I think I would have just taken the 2 extra damage over the 1 extra damage. What do you mean by the 2 extra damage, Mats? So if we animate, it's a 3/3, and it's a 5/5. So which is the same as endurance. Oh, swing. I see. Uh, it would be 1 extra damage, no? I guess it depends, right? Like if I'm attacking with if I'm playing the arbor or not. Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's fair. You're saying the other way. 7/7 definitely awkward. I don't think I want to do that. I think we're gonna tap like this. Ooh, okay, that's pretty good. I think here we just take the Fiend Artisan, right? Sorry, not the Fiend Artisan, the Gris, and sit down. I think we play the land to play around double days. Like I don't think that at this point the information trying to hide the fetch land is worth just losing to double days there. Might be a force. Nope. Oh, okay. Um, the question you want to fetch if it resolves regardless. Yeah. I'm just debating whether we're playing around in the festivities here. Is the only reason. Unless you're saying later on. Okay, that hurts us, but I should have actually attacked. That's awkward now. So the fetch there actually hurt me because yeah. I think what I should have done was pitch the noble. It's a little bit awkward because we want the noble for the lair map potentially. But I think we're supposed to sack the arbor and not attack, and then leave the other. We're supposed to leave the other arbor unfetched, and then they're gonna submerge our endurance in response, and we know the top card's gonna be another endurance, and we're gonna endurance our opponent. So that was the right play. Oh my god, it's another endurance. I mean, sorry, another Murktide. But yeah, that was a mistake. Otherwise, we would have endurance here. That's not bad, actually. This is a must force. The only thing I can see is if they have bounce or if they have what is it called? Uh, Unholy Heat. I think sacking the mana and attacking for 30 would have been fine as well. Yeah, that's fair, Matt. Uh-oh, what is going on here? Wow, okay. I'm excited to play it, Jason. I don't think it's actually very good against our deck. It's a 2 mana removal spell. Um, Although the one thing is, I do think it will make some of our better matchups not as popular. So I think some of the best matchups that may be on the decline in terms of popularity will be combo elves. Oh my god. Okay, so that endurance now is gonna cost us because of the cage, or not. Yeah. So some of the matchups that I think may be on the decline in terms of popularity will be combo L's because they lose to Plague Engineer from our deck. I think DNT, which is like a pretty good matchup, will be on the decline as well. I think we just bash with all right, unless I'm missing something. Ooh, that was very close. Yeah, the metagame may be worse. But I think the card itself I don't mind playing against personally because uh, if you look at the deck, shout out to Billy. That was a very good game match. He actually, in my opinion, probably outplayed me a little bit, but I got a little bit lucky with the once upon a time seeing the endurance too. But I guess that's why we play four, right? Um, like it doesn't hit Phenars and it doesn't hit Reclaimer, and I think those are really what we care about. We don't have any draw spells because I think the last draw spell we had in the deck was like the spell bomb or something like or Soul Guide Lantern type effect off the saga, but we even cut that. So I think Guy's Blessing is probably the last card that draws a card in our deck, and if they want to kill our early Dork for 2 mana, I think that's something we can fight through. It's only really annoying if they're on the play and they like turn to hit our Dork and have like a board presence, right? But aside from that, I don't think we mind it too much. We will see less DNT. Well, we will see less potentially elves, and we'll probably see less eight casts. And those three, especially eight casts and Nettle Sentinel combo elves, are like our best matchups. And it would be unfortunate to see less of those. But DNT, I would say, is not in the same tier in terms of like decks I want to face, but probably a step below. But I don't really mind seeing DNT personally either, which doesn't draw cards but has a lot of X ones that um, may have a hard time getting, aside from Thalia, right? Like getting through in combat. Spirit doesn't attack particularly well into 1/1s. Stoneforge is nice, obviously, still, but we'll see how DNT fares. I don't think it's the end of the world because, like I said, that deck doesn't draw cards. I'm trying to think what else. I think Cephalid Breakfast is actually a decent matchup and may drop down a little bit in popularity. I wouldn't say that's it's probably yeah, I would say that's probably true. Like Jason has more reps with DNT than I do. Like I've touched DNT, since the 60 card days. I like my appeal to DNT was like doing Mangara loops before, but that was like years ago. X2s will be pretty nice, at least for the foreseeable future until it dies down a little bit in terms of popularity because legacy players will want to try the new toy, so to speak, right? Especially since black decks. We haven't really seen many fair black decks in quite a while. Everything's like dark ritual based. Oh, that's fair, Matt. S- Unfortunately, this shout out here to Tim Schultz. But this is probably, in my opinion, the worst matchup for us at the moment. Like, I don't really want to play against lands. I'm to be honest, Charlie. I'm kind of lucky in the sense that I met some nice Magic players over the years. I'm like tempted to keep this against lands. Probably can't though. If we're being honest, like it's the multi 5 already, essentially. Alright, this is like significantly better. I have done that in the past against like some lands opponents. I don't think I can do that against Tim. Like, uh, where you keep 5 lands and they just like try to tabernacle you and it doesn't work. Yeah, that's for sure fair too because of the time zones. Um, Typically around 9 o'clock and after Pacific time, it becomes very degenerate. I've run into like 5 combo decks in one week. Like it's not unheard of. But some quality opponents actually for our stream tonight. I've been, if I'm, you know, if I want to keep it 100, like we easily could have lost the last round, because I think Billy played a little bit tighter than I did. Hey, Star Fox, how's it going? Sure. Ooh, is he missing land drops? Did he move to 5? No, he did not. So that's fine. One of the important things of this matchup is like, and as I've gotten more experience against lands, is you want to kind of like sandbag your guy's Cradle for as long as you can. Because like between Rashad and Ports and Wasteland, it's just really hard to because you want to be able to count to 4 more or less, right? That's fair, Matt. I definitely that game 1 like messed up the turn where I had lethal, but it didn't matter because that tracks this game anyways. Yeah, game 1 was definitely loose, but I was kind of like rushing through it because I knew how the game wrapped. Did he just? Yeah, he played the Blast Zone right now. Sure. Sure. I don't think there's a reason to fetch here, and I think we just want to hit land drops. Um. So I think we can do that and see what our ones hits. If it hits a reclaimer, then we fetch and play the reclaimer. Otherwise, we just keep this up. Oh, this is really bad. As much as I want to take the endurance, if they waste us here, we're probably in trouble. Saga is good bait so that they don't waste us. That's true. I feel like we have to take the land though. Like we essentially just want to count to 4. Okay, that changes things. Okay. So, good or bad, I guess we're getting an Atraxa here. And it's important to stay at 21 because I have to assume that they could have I have to assume that Tim could have a. I think we want the endurance for sure and the layer, I guess. No, probably just another fetch land. He could have a crop for Caracas, right? And then we're just buying turns here. One problem about not having brainstorm, right? Sometimes you draw the card, the haymaker, that's not relevant in this matchup, right? On the topic of snuff out, though, I do think even if I play, three-ish bowmasters, all right, so we're gonna have to block presumably here. Um, if he has the there's no need for Tim to get the Karagas now. Grove, Dursty, the Burn Willows. So if he attacks, so question here is like, do I block? Um, so if I don't block, how do I end this game? Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to block here. I just hope that they don't have, the punishing fire. I just don't see how we close the game, right? Otherwise. Because they could just do it again next turn, so to speak. Well, to be fair, Tim does have Grove, so we have to assume at least two. Otherwise, I don't think it makes sense to play Grove. But yeah, I agree. Not blocking is probably correct there. Also, it gives us more mana for Cradle, is the other reason. And if they want to burn a crop rotation for Caracas here, I think I'm okay with that. Um. Okay, I think we have to burn the endurance here. Yeah, I I think we. Okay, so we're on the same page, Matt. I think we have to burn the endurance here. We cannot get wastelanded here. Interesting. Okay. That's actually not the worst. Um, Question here is like, where do I want to get? I feel like it might be ramp, but I could be wrong. Reclaimer, what does it do here? I don't think Reclaimer actually does anything here too. I feel like we just get ramp. And then we go to one, and then we still have the green sun, and we'll just pass, I guess. I think the play here is if Tim goes for Loam, we're gonna endurance in response as well, and essentially time walk him. At least that's the line I'm drawing myself up. Granted, it shuts off our other fetch, but maybe they have to tap the grow for green. We don't know. Um, Well, Atraxa buys us a couple turns already, so like it depends how Tim plays out. Like if Tim lets the chasms essentially go, natural order could be lethal. I have to do the math, but if it was like a higher stakes event, I would sit down and probably do the math. I just don't think it's worth it for stream purposes here. We can, it's like either or, and I don't think it like the decision changes based on the math, but I don't think it's like particularly complex actually after you actually map it out. Going to six is good. Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure we want to cast endurance regardless, so I'd rather just time walk Tim. I don't think you care about what specifically, Mass. Oh, I got distracted. Um. Okay, that. Yeah. That's good to know at least. Question here is like, what do I want to do now? He attacks. Question here is what to do. We don't have another endurance, but I can see collector oof being mattering, so that's probably the correct play. Oh, you okay? No, you're right. There is three in this list. I screwed up. You are right. I definitely screwed up. Although I would be cut off hard casting the endurance here for whatever that's worth. I also should have played the Misty. That was a mistake. I just like because this is revealed information, right? Oh, I did. Okay, so I totally watched that then, Matt. I feel like there's a chance Tim may go for the Shadow Spear. Is why I kind of went for the oof. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's the logic at least. This my games with Tim have always typically resulted in Tim winning, but they've been very grindy. No, for sure, you're right, Matt. The question here is like, do I endurance now? I feel like probably not. We have a hard cast snuff out, which is kind of funny. Trying to figure out how did Saga get on 2? Should be a 3 now, right? Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, actually, I think I might have made the right call with the collective. That was what I was thinking of because I didn't foresee winning anytime soon. They want to needle my land. That's fine. They're shut off anyways. What did they get? Needle and Reclaimer. That's reasonable, yes. Question here is like, what do I do? I think so too, actually. We're gonna endurance, kill the thing, and we attack with all, swing out, right? No, they have the chasm though. Yeah, they have the chasm. We can't do it. So I think we kill the construct end of turn. We have to do it anyways. Yeah, for sure. Jason, we're on the same line here. Ooh, the Bog and the Reclaimer are both good here. I think the Reclaimer at pressure. And just leave the fetch in my hand past turn. This game has been incredibly tight. He has to let the chasm go now. Right, so using the snuff out mana actually mattered because now I can hardcast I have all the mana for the end-step endurance, right? Needle. No, Reclaimer is just for the body, Dursty. Oh, brutal. That was a good game. Close, very close. No, I enjoyed that though. That was a lot of fun. I wonder if you had to fetch in response to the needle, the way that game progressed. I was at 1 life though, Jason, unless I'm missing something. Thank you for the sub, DT Lurch. Avid vintage player here. Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean when I fetch earlier in the game? That's reasonable. Yeah, I think I would have to backtrack and see, but I see what you're saying now. What do I want here? This is like randomly good against Loam. I think I can cut one Artisan to be honest. It's like not super good in this matchup. Sure, the one up Karak is in hand. Shout out to DT Lurch here for the Prime, by the way. Subscription. Appreciate that. Blazo. Sure. I think we're just gonna go turn to Artisan off of basic. That changes things. There's an argument to be made. I should just play that, but I kind of want to just get my tap lands out of the way. Sure. Doing this main phase, and then I'm gonna pass, so I can get Cradle here. Ugh, that is kind of annoying. We're definitely fetching. It's just what are we getting here? It's either Cradle and forcing the Wasteland out, or getting the basic here. I think we're just gonna get the basic and start attacking. That is actually kind of gross right now. And then see what happens, I guess. It's just a fun of that Matt's suggested. That could be game winning. Like if he doesn't have a good green source. Might have to be a crop rotation for, yeah. Might be an endurance here, yeah. So kind of happy that I like snuffed that out, I guess. I think I just play the land and pass. They want to waste, I think that's fine. Oof. Feels bad to play the Caracas now. Maybe shouldn't have. Oh, okay. I don't think we play the. I don't think there's a Well, the reason would be to have 2 mana up. I don't think it's worth it. I could get Saga. It's just very dangerous. I hate it. I learned from playing Tim actually. If your opponent copies your Saga, you probably lose. I think here I'm just gonna get another Cradle preemptively. I'm just cause. So we burn the Wasteland is gonna be earmarked potentially for the Cradle, and we have another one in hand. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So that played out the way we thought it might. It's gonna put it on one of the on the endurances, make it a 4/5. We double chump. I think we just run out the Cradle again. This is another matchup where actually I don't even remember how I boarded. I'm taking out a door. No, I took out a Fiend Artisan. Which yeah, it doesn't do anything on this board state, right? Like we never had mana in this matchup. Sure. Oh. Tim's doing the old draw step reclaimer activation essentially trick to get to stage 3, chapter 3 faster. Maybe he wants an expedition map, is what I would guess. Actually, that doesn't make sense because Crop can get any land. What would he want here? What do I want? Oh, that's fair. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. I was trying to figure out what the line was. Maybe that means we get our Saga now because we gotta shut off like well, it's not gonna shut off the Shadow Spear in time. Maybe we have to play for the natural order win. No, that makes sense, Mats. Might be a needle. Yeah, makes sense. Should be naming Reclaimer, maybe Fiend Artisan. That's a problem. Um, I think blocking here and then absorbing some damage might not be the worst. Yeah. 18. Probably double block one of the constructs and not even trade the arbor because we need the mana and the natural order math. Although we're just dead to the Shadow Spear next turn. I thought about block bounce essentially with arbor, but I don't think it's worth it. Debatable there whether I should have. Debatable there whether I should have deck thinned. Tim made a joke here that he thinks I should go by endurance control now. If we take 6 here. Oh yeah, you're right. So I couldn't even do that. Math is correct, as usual. I don't think it makes sense to block that. I think we do it this way. We lose 2 creatures and then kill one of theirs. I definitely didn't play perfectly, but this, like I said, is the one matchup I don't really want to play against. Probably over. I don't think we have an out. Yeah, we don't have an out because it's gonna get through here. It's pretty fun though. Not that matter, but blocking a token would have been better. You talking about which turn? For what it's worth, Matt did say Caracas is not great in this matchup, and yeah, didn't really do anything there aside from making mana, I guess. Mm. You double blocked endurance over a token. Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of like killing, but then I don't get the endurance off the board, right? Unless I'm missing something. I never mind. I see what you're saying. We would have we would have lost a creature, and then Phenarsen would have been big enough to stop the construct. But right, no, that makes sense. This is pretty bad. Better. If we can get a 4-1, that would be a great day. 3-2, I would even settle for the send off, so to speak, of this version of the deck. Before Bowmaster, we play. I think the minimum is 2. I think the likely number is 3, and the best case scenario is 4. But I have a hard time seeing that as the correct number because for curve reasons, color reasons, um, diminishing returns, a whole bunch of reasons why I don't think 4 is probably the right number. I know DCIT and Inigo have both tested it to varying degrees. The Ponder Shuffle. Anytime I see Underground Sea, I'm like tempted to take Collector Oof. If they're on a fair deck, I think we would immediately regret it. I'm just gonna take the Artisan. It's the and if our opponent is on a combo deck, then we live with the consequences. Like there's that bug scam, right? Like deck that or like Shadow it could be. So I'm a little bit weary of taking Collected Oof against Underground Sea now. But there was a time and period where I probably would have done it and just taken the Collected Oof and just assume they're in combo. Grief, piss, grief. All right, sure. Maybe it is the scam as we thought. They did not say good luck, have fun. So that's probably a good point. If they did say that, it's definitely a combo. Because they did not, it's probably a fair deck. That is a very good point. I think they're on bug scam. It's been trending upwards lately. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good start from our opponent here. Really regretting that snuff out now. Ugh. I'm trying to think what our first hand. No, the first hand was not keepable. What did we bottom? Anybody remember? Oh, we brought him a second Cradle. That's fine. And then we took the Artisan. I think, given what we knew, like, I think our key was pretty reasonable. They're gonna attack with Grief. I think that's fine. I do think we have a problem with these scam decks. Especially if they're playing Witherbloom Command. It's like a lot of value. It's dead, snuff out in hand too. Yikes. I think we just play it out, just in case they have him or something. Instant regret now though of the Green Sun for 0 turn 1. I just figured we had enough ramp. Sorry, enough payoffs between Reclaimer and I didn't think we were gonna get double Thoughtseize there, but that is what their deck does. So I think it's something we live with. hoping they would just hit the Snuff out, but or Thought Seasons. That's actually even better, right? Because it's 1-for-1 instead of taking a land. We're probably gonna be down a game here. But I think it probably gets better post board for us. Sure, they're gonna waste the Cradle. Gotta bluff the endurance, of course. I think all their creatures except Uro dodge Snuff Out, and Snuff Out's not even good against Uro. So this will easily get boarded out. What just happened here? They want to reanimate a Fiend Artisan? Sure. Pretty awkward that that's black too. Uh... 2, 3, 4, 5. We're still short. We Gris. I don't think that matters. I think we get our own Fiend Artisan here. I don't think Gris does anything because we don't want to block the Grave, and they can just take it down with the Strix. I think Leyline is probably really good in this matchup, given that the Uro deck. And if they want to reanimate our creatures, I think we live with it. Generally speaking, this doesn't work out well for opponents. Like, just from seeing the Reanimator matchup. I don't think I've lost when my opponents have, like, from the get-go at least, out of Reanimator. They go straight to the plan B because, like, Leyline the Void is in play. Hey, High Star. You talking about this matchup or in general? I would guess it's probably okay. Because they can reanimate your creatures, but I don't think they're doing much with like a Reclaimer or Reclaimer's probably fine, but Artisan can get Strixes, I guess. Three, 4, 5. No blocks. They probably should attack with the Artisan too. I'm not gonna block. Oh, unless they Witherbloom like drain us here. Oh, I see what they're doing. They want to get on the Strix. Or one of the two. I think our only out here is Natural Order for Atraxa. Sure. They probably have it, but you gotta try. Yep. Alright, that's game. Alright, we'll board out the Snuff Outs, which were pretty awful. I think Seize is probably really good in this matchup. I don't like endurance because it can't get through Strix. Engineer for Strix is good. Nito, probably not. Caracas, probably not. I don't think we want to remove. This is an exile? Yeah, probably not either. I think. So, this is what we have at the moment. And. I don't know if this is like a layer matchup. Probably not because they have Wasteland. But it's not going to get through the Strix most likely. We can just play as another green source. I'm trying to think if I want Leyline or not. It feels like probably not. Yeah, I don't. Let's try without. We could just instead of endurance, yeah, like play the Leyline and cut like a layer. Sure. Actually, I haven't played against this deck too much. That is an easy call. I'm gonna be very upset if they scam me or thought sees me into ran my grist right now. Sure. Actually, Shepherd is not like great in this deck. It's just we have to play because there's no better one drop. They miss the second land drop? No. It also like makes it so we don't randomly lose as much to chalice, I guess. Might be a Thoughtseize here. Sure. This is so awkward. Um, Now I can't do what I want to do. Question here is like, do I get the ramp? I feel like I just tick up, right? Just make more creatures. I don't think that matters. If they want to attack, that's fine. I guess there's one thing that they can do, right? With sure. Wow, that's perfect for us. I think, given what we saw, we're definitely taking down and killing the ramp. They missed their land drop, so like more incentivized there, right? Sure. uh, if they want to trade, I think I'm okay with it. They're missing land drops, and we kind of have to start applying pressure. I wonder what they're protecting with their force. Engineer, maybe? Or deed? That's kind of makes sense, I guess. They missed their land drop again. So we didn't attack there, we would have 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, 7 mana. We could potentially hard cast Cuff. Sure. This is kind of funny. Alright. Green Sun wants land. Probably Fiend Artisan. I don't think we want to burn the Green Sun here. There's no need to arbor. They have to deal with that Traxa anyways. I think we just want to go 2 Fiend Artisans here. The other thing is like, if our opponent taps out, we can actually just get a Noble Hierarch and just like push Atraxa through. I think I actually like the way we boarded. I think the lair actually matters for lands. And the endurance I think I like to have just in case they have a row in the yard and we have a Green Sun or a Fiend Artisan. Yeah, I think this mapped out actually pretty cleanly. And I didn't actually have this matchup in my radar when we mapped it before. Ugh. Jesus. This is like killing us today. Or tonight. We got a mole. Yeah, I can see that. Sure. Problem is Saga kind of is the best payoff land. Lair is kind of just like a fireball effect. It's like not great. I'm not even sure what else we would play. Like you can play like Horizon Canopy, like sorry, Nurturing Peatland, but I don't think that's great either. I'd probably just play the 11 fetch if anything. It just have better mana. Maybe it'll be okay once. Maybe it'll be okay once Bowmaster comes because you have higher threat density too, so you don't need to feel like against control you need to saga them. That's really the matchup that's for. Jesus. The problem there is like we had Leyline, right? Like they just reanimated our Gris. I don't think they noticed that line. I think here play the Reclaimer and pass. I think there's an argument to be made here to do that and pass and get Arbor. The awkward part about the scam package for us is the cards that are good against it are like good against us, namely Cage and Containment Priest. So we don't really want to play those cards. So we can't really punish them, if that makes sense. There's Graveyard Hate, but then they can just reanimate our stuff. Sure. I think the punish here is like we get Arbor and they like snuff it out or Fatal Push it. Really surprised they didn't take the Gris though. Well, I guess maybe because they have Grief. We can guarantee the Gris is big. By playing it this way. Otherwise we have to hope, right? Sure. What do they pitch? Ponder, sure. We're going to 7. I'm not too concerned about life yet, but it can matter later on. I have the line on defense is going to be Reclaimer and Arbor double block Grief, pitch Arbor, and then we just strictly trade up if they want to attack. Like I know we're gonna be at 7, but I'm not super scared about life yet. Because Reclaimer's gonna play defense next turn, and I don't think they're gonna attack. And if they do, we double block, like I said, and pitch the Arbor away. It's kind of a cool line that is like relevant only against Grief. It's come up a few times against Reanimator, and they're not used to the combat math or that trick. that's kind of annoying though. So we go to 7. Still a few turns away. Sure. We'll block this if need be. We're at 5 now. That's still a 3-turn clock, so that's okay. They just scam us both games 1 and 3. And like, I don't know what I guess the probability is roughly, 16%, like ignoring the fact that you need another black pitch. And ignoring lands for a second. Because 0.4 times 0.4. But these are, of course, first order approximations. Let's see if they mess it up here. Okay, so they don't see it. Or they don't care, one or the other. I think we're looking at grind here. So I'm gonna get a Saga. Yeah, I don't think they saw it. It's a line that's not intuitive. And if we are lucky, they have made a mistake during brainstorm too, with that in mind. I think ideally here they thought sees us. Okay. Oh my god, that's like the ultimate punish. I thought about bogging too, just in case. But that's pretty punished now. Kind of unfortunate. We drew pretty poorly too, for whatever that's worth. Yeah, I'd rather not play against this deck because of the scam and because of the Wither Bloom command. Like, this card is like very situational, but good against us because the land and killing the creature is like, it's like a better expressive iteration against us. Because it affects the board, right? It kills our dork and then they get a land back. So we can't outgrind them. The problem is like, if this somehow sneaks through, we're probably in trouble. Most of the time it does not, but it can. And we don't really want them to mill this, right? That's the other issue. Hey Chase, how's it going? It's I think it's because Andrea Mingucci played it in the Four Seasons event and did like pretty well with it. Also Max Gilmore had some success with this, and then so did Hans HK XJ Kaiser. I think those are the main reasons. I might be missing something else as well, but definitely Max Gilmore, aka Max Thorson, XJ Kaiser, and Andrea Mangucci are the big ones. I think also had won top eight at the recent challenge. All right, we're dead. We won the one game. We didn't get scammed. Actually, I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom and get water. Um, the name comes from. Oops, sorry, one second. I actually asked this as well when I thought about playing, uh, the grief package plus reanimate. From what I understand, there's two reasons why the name is called scam. Because you're either scamming yourself or you're scamming your opponent. So, um, the idea is you play these like ephemerate or Malachor rebirth type effects, or I guess in Legacy reanimate, right? And you reanimate these pitch elementals. It comes from modern because of red black, and there's fury and grief. But it was called for scam initially because you're scamming yourself, but then when it works, it feels like your opponent is getting scammed. Keep or you're scamming your opponent because you gotta pull the combo out turn one before they gotta do anything, more or less. When I say combo, I mean like evoke pitch, uh, evoke elemento, and then reanimate it, more or less. Whether with Malachor rebirth or ephemerate or those kind of effects. The flicker slash comeback effects. I think here I'm gonna let this resolve. If they want to try to mana screw us with taking our once upon a time, I think we live with that. What is your favorite combo, Chase? I do love that combo too. Uh, Originally, actually, I wanted DRS would actually help our build because we could play Grief, but then having played, with the higher, even with the higher black count now, I actually don't think we want Grief in this particular deck because we still want a critical mass of creatures, even though they're not necessarily elves anymore. I think the card advantage or card disadvantage hurts us too much than the gains of being free against combo per se. Because at the end of the day, like between Fiend Artisan, Cradle, and Natural Order, the creature count really matters in this deck, and I don't think like Grief is. It's a little all in, I guess, for my liking. I think given that we saw a land here, we can just fetch now, and deck thin. Ooh, I hear a subscription or a something. I think here we just take the Cradle. It's just too powerful. They're gonna follow. Tron is bad. They went Underground Sea first. Let's just ramp and see what happens. Maybe it's another scam opponent. Usually with Underground Sea before, I would have put it on combo, which I like Arbor better against. But if they're on a fair deck, I think I'd rather leave with Reclaimer. Yeah, I think I got like blown out by Chase before. Definitely win. I know he ephemerated a few griefs and solitudes against me. They're probably playing Shadow. Possible, and maybe they just Underground Sea was their only land like turn one, but usually I just assume maybe the player. Maybe I would just assume that if your turn one Shadow, you probably go like Water Grave turn. Oh my God, they missed land drops. Tis tis tis. Tis tis. I think here we're just gonna flood board. No need to run anything in the days if we don't need to. Kind of curious what they do. It smells like combo now though. Yeah, now we do Elvish things, right? They probably seize us, take our snuff out. I would guess. If it's Dark Ritual, we're probably dead. Hmm. I'm trying to think what they could have. 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We can't. I think so. We just don't die. I'm just gonna get Collective Oof here. Like, there's a handful of things it could be, and I would really hate to lose this game when our opponent just didn't hit land drops. Now, I don't know what they're on, is the problem. And they could just concede without giving information. We have lethal next turn, so that's why I got the Collective. I feel like I'm trying to think how to not lose this game now. So if there's Shadow, we win anyways, right? Like we have a Gris on board. They are beating a Gris with Shadow. They actually made the mistake of Reef here. I would also guess Doomsday, like Straz Daddy mentioned, because they tried to brainstorm. They didn't do anything. No snuff outs, no nothing. I would also guess, and then I would guess that they have maybe a Doomsday or multiple in hand, and they just don't have anything relevant, right? That they couldn't cast their Doomsday. So So let me bring up how I board against Doomsday. Actually, yeah, for those who, I'll show this later. I mentioned earlier, I have a metagame update that came out on Patreon today. I'm gonna make it available for everyone probably next Monday, and I think players may enjoy it because there's a few popular names that have been doing well recently. So I give them a little bit of shout out. I think I like Snuff Out a lot in this matchup against Doomsday because it pairs really well against Endurance. Needle's good. Blessing is. Do I play? I don't even know. Let me bring in the stuff I want for sure first, and then we'll figure out from there. Artisan's actually too slow in this matchup, typically speaking. Matt's actually brought up a good point of boarding out of the hoof because if you get a Traxa, you probably win anyways. Because you have to pass a turn most of the time, or it draws you into Snuff Out plus Endurance, which is generally unbeatable. I think we can cut a dork, I guess. Oops. Like, okay, all of these do nothing. Thanks, yeah, I appreciate Charlie. Charlie is subscribed to my Patreon, so he has access to it already, and he enjoyed the metagame update. But like I said, I'm making this one available for two reasons. Two, number one, a lot of my people I know have done well in the past month and represent certain archetypes, so I want to give them some spotlight. Number two, the metagame is probably going to change pretty drastically anyways, so there's really no harm in just making it public to everyone because it's going to change after in 2 weeks, I suspect. Once everybody starts getting a hold of Orcish Bowmaster. So we're not going to get the 5-0 or 4-1 today, but I will definitely take a 3-2 and send this version of the deck off. It's too bad we lost the lands. I think that's fine. We got scammed. That matchup feels like we need to address. I'm not sure what's the best way yet. Maybe Veil of Summers needs to come back. Because we can't really stop their stuff. Like if they have the scam, we can't really stop. We just have to hope they don't have it. Does SCG still do coverage of the legacy events? I'm probably not the right person to ask that. I would guess they don't have many legacy events, period, anymore. But somebody else in chat can probably answer that better than me. I don't really follow coverage all that well. Yeah, I think if you ask Tom Hep that too, Chase, that Veil of Summer is like one of his most hated cards. It's funny too because I've always been on the, and granted it's the decks I play, but Veil of Summer is typically very bad when I cast it and very bad against me. So I think it really depends on the deck, right? Obviously, you're playing like 8 discard combo deck. Veil of Summer is gonna feel like targeted hate, right? But my deck was built the way it was, originally with only 4 Thought Seizes, and they typically didn't overlap with removal. So, sure, you can bring Veil Summer against me, but a lot of times it's gonna do nothing. Like, very common against combo decks before, I would like go turn 1 Seize, see a Veil Summer in their hand, and know the likelihood it's gonna matter the rest of the game is like, low outside of me top decking more discard, right? This is something. I almost feel like this is a keep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I rarely use it as a silence. Maybe this is greedy. I feel like this is a keep. I only kept it because it's two endurances. So they are on Doomsday. We did map that correctly. Once upon a time, I was a blue player. It was a long time ago. We did guess right, Straz Daddy. Props to Straz Daddy. I think what gave it away was them not affecting the board. Like, if they had affected the board, obviously we can tell it's a fair deck, but also the brainstorm, just trying to go for the kill essentially. It was that or like I don't. Yeah, it had to be Doomsday based on what we knew, right? Like otherwise it would be a fair deck, or otherwise we would die to probably reanimate or red blue the blue variant. All right, we should check their yard. They got at least two personal tutors, three, four. How many force of wills left? One, two, three, four. Uh, I think LED is still in. No, they boarded out LED. I think we seize here, to be honest. Duress, consider Edge of Autumn. I don't think I mind them Edge of Autumning because that's like a very all in play. And, well, they put away the LED. That's interesting. I feel like it's the consider. But I am not 100% sure. Like, I don't think they have two LEDs, but still. I think our line here is we're gonna get Noble into Arbor. They didn't duress us, which is interesting. Maybe they don't have a land anymore, or want to keep a. Yeah, that was my line too, Straz Daddy. For sure. Now they have three cards in hand. I think it's got to be natural order here, right? And just dig into more hate. we're gonna get snuff out most likely here. Well, actually, wow, we didn't see the snuff out. That's okay. We'll take the land, take the once as pitch, and take the mesmeric. Yeah, I guess we can take the mesmeric fiend. Is it that or the collective? Actually, I don't think it's the collective because they can just if they cast the relic next turn, then it doesn't matter. The rest actually the mesmeric fiend also doesn't matter. I think we take the mesmeric fiend just in case. For once, a bad attracts a hit. We didn't see anything. Four cards in hand, okay. So they're all in now. Actually, they screwed up. They did that on draw step. Yeah, they messed up. I don't think it would have mattered. I think we were pretty like our translate hit wasn't even good, but I think they were pretty much we're gonna beat two endurances there. Not to mention a big time clock. Okay, I guess we finished. We send this list off as 3-2. It's already kind of late. I know this league ran long too. We had a lot of grindy matchups here. No shame in losing to lands. Kind of sucks as a scam. Maybe need to think about this matchup, or just a set losing to their high rolls, which we got. We got essentially games 1 and 3. The rest, admittedly, a little bit lucky to win against Delver, but we also, probably didn't play the best there. I forget what was round 1. Oh, Cloud Post. Probably our opponent punted there too. So I think this is it for this version of this iteration of the deck. And then next week, it is time for Battle Brawler, or AKA the placeholder right now for the Orcish Bowmasters. This is like roughly what I would play going forward. I have not gotten a chance to test it yet. Caracas is a guess because I think merit-based strategies will probably get a little bit better. I think them completely ignoring Bowmaster is pretty big for them. Not to mention they've already been on the rise because they were the biggest, or the deck hurt most by initiative. So it makes sense that they have the most to gain right out of the initiative band. And what is it called? Moonstomp as well, right? Didn't particularly gain, was not a big winner during the initiative era, so they had the most to gain. I think Saga was pretty bad today. Maybe we need to look at cutting that card. We had to mulligan a few hands that we otherwise would have kept. So I think I would play like the 11th fetch. Nito's still pretty good. I don't even mind like playing this without Saga. Maybe it could be like the second Force of Vigor or something. I think that's like reasonable. Alright, did anybody have any questions for me? That's like roughly where I'm at, right? Or where my head's at right now with this deck. If not, then I will go ahead and raid. Who's available? Thanks, D6. Thanks, Charlie. I don't even know who to raid right now. I don't recognize anybody here. If anybody has a recommendation, I can just raid whoever you think. There's a Nexus Magic or a System Magic. Well, okay, Metamorphic Alteration is legal now, or unbugged, so I think some people will care about that. So I'll raid System Magic. Actually, Nexus has lower following, so I'll go raid ahead and raid them. Alright, thank you for hanging out tonight. Here are my socials again for those of you who are curious and want more information on this deck.